Okay guys, so we're at the park with this awesome looking quadcopter here, the JJRC H11D FPV 5.8 gigahertz, and we're going to start this thing up. So powering on, we got our SD card in the camera here. This is the SD card you're going to have to supply yourself. Okay, so turning on the camera, turning on the FPV monitor. There we go. We can see our screen here. It's always good to be launching from a level surface too, just in case, as level as possible. Turning on the controller. So we have this constant beep, and then we're pushing up and down to bind. Okay. So real easy. All these buttons have labeling on them. So we are going to first take a snapshot. And the screen's flashing, so that means it took a snapshot, and then we're going to start the video by pressing this button here. And then we see this turn red, and it's doing a countdown as it's recording. Let's go ahead and test our camera tilt function real quick. So I'm pressing this down camera. Great, so we're getting intermittent little pitch control here. Alright, looks like that's working good. We'll test it more when we're flying. So let's have a flight, see how it does. All right, nice and smooth. This is in rate 1. We are having like a 5 to 10 mile per hour winds coming from that direction. You can see the lighting on this quad is really good for orientation. So the left trigger is going to be our speed. So we got 3 rates of speed here. Whoa, watch out, butterfly. And so let's see what our yaw rates are. In rate 1, really slow, 2, faster, 3, even faster. So we get 3 rates of yaw and pitch and roll. Liking that. And let's go ahead and see if it does some other functions here. So let's do some flips. No. I am hearing a constant beeping, and then when I push the right stick it won't flip for some reason. So we'll test that more in the house. Right now I want to get some range testing. So I'm going to fly out away from me and go ahead and test the left and right. Looks like our FPV is still in good view, and I'm still in good control. I'm about 100 feet. Oh, okay, well, about 100 feet. It's getting wishy-washy now at about 100 feet, so not too impressed with the range. The video was still perfectly clear in the FPV, but as far as the control range, not too impressed. Okay, let's see what else we have here. So let's see, let's do a headless mode. So we launched out from this direction, and I'm going to be pressing this bottom key here. So we see some flashing on the tail lights, and now we should be in headless. So I am turning our yaw, and then I'm going back towards us, forward away from us, right and left, and it's still pretty accurate. It's skewed a little bit to the left, but not bad. Still able to bring it back no matter which direction I'm in. So let's go out of headless mode by clicking that button again. And let's try to return to home real quick. So I'm just going to fly straight out. And then I'm going to hit this button here that says automatic return. So we are losing control at about 100 feet. That's too bad. So let me just make sure we're good distance and pressing automatic return now. So yeah, so it immediately starts flying back. Seems like it's a little heavy in the wind. Probably because this camera and stuff. So let's have a flight, see how it does. So I'm going to go up a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and rotate our camera. So I'm just holding the down button on the camera, and it looks like it is rotating down towards the ground. I can see in my FPV that it's pointing at the ground now. You guys can see that. Okay, so little bit bad on the lift, probably because of the full FPV setup. And of course the wind doesn't help too much. So let's try again. Let's launch. And then we're gonna try to rotate the camera straight up. Everything's still a-okay. Looks like we might be losing battery, so I'm gonna rotate the camera up as quick as possible. I'm seeing some flashing on the lights, so I'm gonna try to get the camera back forward. There we go. So you can see how our camera is now facing forward in the video. So the camera pitch control does work very well. Impressed with that. So it looks like we're starting to lose our power. Just gonna get a close up before we lose power on this one. So I'm just gonna fly it till the battery dies. See how it does with its low voltage cutoff. It has been flashing for a while, so it gives you a good amount of time to fly and land if you want to when the lights are flashing. The cool thing is you can pitch up beyond the horizon, so when you do start to push forward on it, it'll keep the camera kind of level. Okay, well we're still flashing on low voltage, I assume. And still have flight capability. I am at full throttle and it's just barely lifting. So apparently the battery is getting a little exhausted. This is the first battery charge on the copter. I do have fresh batteries in the controller. So probably a few cycles of the battery will give it a little better flight time and stuff. I will have those flight times in the pros and cons back on the bench. So the wind has picked up pretty good. You can see the trees over there rustling in the wind. So I still have some decent power, even though these lights are flashing. Maybe that's indicating the, maybe that's just indicating the videos. Oh, there it goes, okay. So it's going into its low voltage kind of landing. And I just want to kind of see what it does when it runs out of power. There you go. So we have our low voltage cut off. And so you won't damage your battery, hopefully. Great park flight test. Let's stop the video. Okay, cool guys. So that was a great flight in the park. Let's go ahead and go back to the house, do some house flight, see how it does in like no wind, and get some flight time, some battery flight times after a couple charges, and then go back to the bench and do a final pros and cons, see how this thing did. Okay, so we're in the house, evening time, late evening, and we're gonna see how this thing performs in the house in a low light situation and also in a no wind situation. So it looks like we have everything connected. Got our FPV here. Going to just do a photo real quick and start our recording. And let's try it out. Okay, so those LEDs are super bright. Real easy to tell orientation. And so this is the yaw rate in rate 1. There's our rate 2, hitting the left trigger button here. And a rate 3, even faster. So this thing's great. It has 3 rates, a little bit noisy, but it does have 3 rates of yaw. And let's see how it is for pitch and roll. So pitch and roll, this is rate 1. Rate 2, few more degrees, and then rate 3, so even more angle. So not bad. Okay, so let's do a lift test from hover to full lift now. So real sluggish. This one is geared more for a camera platform, so it just has enough lift to kind of keep it up. You can't do flips when you have the camera attached just because it's too heavy. So probably later on be doing some testing on without the camera, if we can do some flips. Anyway, start recording again. There we go. It is pulling to the left, so I'm going to try to trim that out a little bit. Easy peasy. With the buttons here, video is nice and responsive. You can see that instant response with 5.8 gigahertz FPV. You can see that it's just barely maybe 100 millisecond delay in the video. So real good, really impressed. Nice clear screen. Seeing a little bit of some white lines in the FPV. You can see that starting to develop. You can see that in the stream, not sure why. Could be maybe not enough power to push the FPV equipment, not sure. So that could be the problem. So the stream froze and it just shut off. So I'm not sure why that just happened. Yeah, so maybe the battery life in either the transmitter or the screen is not enough to fly multiple flights. You might have to charge it each time. So anyway, we're just going to continue flying a little bit. Okay, so for this one, if you do want to reset the gyro, there's a reset button here. You just hold it in and you're going to see the lights. You're going to hear a beep and you're going to see the lights flash, and that should reset the gyro if you are drifting a little bit. Just make sure you're on a level surface. There we go. So let's see, hover test. Completely off the sticks, hovering pretty good, starting to go down. And let's try to do a transmitter shutoff test. So I'm just going to hover safely over the carpet and turn the controller off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa. Okay. Alright, so a little bit dangerous with that. I guess maybe it's trying to, it seemed like it went up a little bit and then it started to come down. So I can see how that might be a little dangerous if there's some wind and then it starts to go up. It seems like that will be possible flyaway. So it looks like the low voltage lights have already come on. Do a little bit of flying in the house, up high, turn around. Pretty smooth flight. And really easy to see indication with all these lights on it. So I'm just going to fly around until it loses its power. Okay, so there's a Christmas tree crash. That was cool. Seems a-okay. So it's definitely going to be a durable one. And this one definitely gives you a lot of time after low voltage lights come on to bring it on down. I'm going to try one more controller shut-off test. Okay, I just shut off the controller. So it does slowly drop. So I guess that's a good feature. It will slowly drop so you won't damage it, but I think it should drop more immediate and more fast. Alright, so there we go. So it's kind of landing itself. I'm at full throttle right now. And it's just landing itself on low voltage. And there's our low voltage cutoff. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and take this guy back to the bench, get some accurate flight timings on this with the FPV on, without the FPV, maybe take the camera off also, and I'll do some testing to see if I can get those flips working without the camera and let you guys know on the bench. So let's go ahead and get back to the bench and see how it did.